Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Another episode of the Chatting Pitch. We
Now I want to go
me.
back. I want to go back and listen to if you do that every time.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to Wheezing Pitch with me, Matthew, and
me, Leslie. So you might have noticed. You may have noticed. Matthew sounds a little bit different today. There's a reason why. I don't want to pull the curtains back, but something's different to your voice.
I've had an upgrade, Leslie.
Can you open the pod bay doors, please, Matthew?
I'm sorry, Leslie. I can't do that.
Oh my goodness, he's in stereo.
Well, I've got a lovely new microphone. Yeah, thank you very much, because you recommended it to me because you said
your microphone sucks.
Yeah. You said, and I quote, "Your microphone is a massive shit-eating, you stupid." We'll beep that to make it appropriate. But
I love it when Matthew gives me more work to do in the editing section. So props to that.
You could replace it with words. Would that be easier?
No. Oh, what? Like
flower, munchkin.
Yeah.
Goose.
Can you say mother farmer?
You dirty mother farmer.
Okay, so Matthew has a new microphone because for the longest time we had different microphones, and I thought, seeing as we've hit our incredible milestone of 350 plays of all time, how about of all time? So we decided to upgrade a little bit, and we've decided to have the same microphone, essentially. So hopefully we sound the same.
We splashed the
quality-wise. We splashed the cash. Yeah. So with all that considered, I think this episode is particularly special. And what better way to kick off a new piece of tech but to rehash the same idea we've been doing for the past 2 episodes and talk about aliens. Cue the jingle.
We're going to mine that idea like Disney are probably going to mine the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
what do you think? Do you think you could probably put... I want to find a place where I can put a bet on, and I want to put some good money on Disney making an alien TV show. What do you think?
Funny you say that, because it's been greenlit.
Has it actually?
Yeah. Did you not know this?
No, I did not.
Alien is going to have his own TV show. It's either going to be on... What do Disney own now? They own 20th Century. They own Hulu. They own Disney.
I believe they own some theme parks somewhere.
It's probably going to be on one of those channels. But it's going to be called Alien Earth, apparently. Where aliens apparently were on Earth to begin with. I don't know.
I hope that's
according to sources, it starts before Prometheus.
So is this an official? Is this an
I don't know if it's official
thing,
or not.
or is it just rumors?
I saw a thing on X Twitter, and somebody said that Alien Earth is going to be
Elon Musk. You can't go to London. There's going to be civil war in Britain. All these xenomorphs crawling around, committing knife crime.
I don't read his tweets anymore. I've muted him. He's it's just too much noise. Too much noise. I just want to know. I just want to see silly memes and alien content. Speaking of Alien, we did it. We finally watched the new Alien Romulus and Remus, which gets mentioned a few times in the movie.
Yeah, the overshadowed brother, I guess. I kind of feel bad for Remus.
Yeah.
So I think watching the film, Remus was the nicer ship. It had comfier chairs, nicer views and whatnot.
So here we go.
Controversy.
So 2 episodes ago, we decided to talk about all the Alien movies, but Alien Romulus hadn't come out yet. Last week, we decided to pitch ideas of aliens. Alien Romulus hasn't come out yet. And it also ended with a cracking tune. Did you enjoy the little musical number?
I think everyone did, Leslie. Loads of people are saying that they think it's going to be Christmas #1.
Yeah, it's going to be the next Broadway hit. The next
Martin
West
Short's
End
going to
musical
sing it on stage
as Jiminy Glick,
operatic version.
Yeah, I liked making that tune, and if you didn't know, we completely ripped off another musical that should not be named due to copyright reasons. But if you know, you know. Leave a comment in the section if you know. But anyway, moving on. Alien Romulus.
What do you think?
What did I think? Okay. Shall I have my opinion first?
First off, let's set up. Let's tell people the general gist, the GGs, the GGs of it all.
So it's a movie that was set between Alien and Aliens. You know, I think initially James Cameron probably pitched this one as Alien and then 50 Cent like afterwards.
Yeah. All those times in the early 2000s where you get a DVD and it would be like X-Men 1.5.
That's right. Or
with 6 hours of bonus features.
Spider-Man 2.1 in surround sound.
Implying that there are going to be 8 others?
9 others
2.2,
that make up to
2.3.
Yeah. Very confusing with the numbering system.
In 2.4, Doc Ock's got no arms, so he's just floating around.
Yeah. That's the prologue. So what happened in this movie? So a ragtag group of children decide to do a little bit of a bank heist in space. And what better place to do it than a place riddled with aliens? Of course, they didn't know that at the time, but
no, of course you can't blame them, can you? They're only children.
No.
Speaking of children, crew.
They are the youngest looking bunch that I've seen in an Alien franchise. Most of them are usually, pushing in their, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe. But
yeah, remember Alien 4 where there was like Dick Van Dyke? Oh, he still had the moves though.
He still had the moves.
He kicked that xenomorph out into space. He did another spin kick and shut the airlock door.
Honestly, it's been so long since I've seen Alien Resurrection. Was Dick Van Dyke in it?
Yep.
He was?
Yeah, as the old guy from Mary Poppins.
Chimney. That's it. So
you could have that sequence where they're all, in Mary Poppins where they laugh and the laughing makes them float. You could intercut that with the scenes from Alien.
With the 0G stuff.
Yeah. Zero G features a lot in Romulus, doesn't it?
We won't get into spoilers. We'll talk about that in the spoiler section. But yeah, we're still setting up. So these people, they're, some of them are a bit sad. Especially the main character. She's a bit sad because she doesn't have any family, and the only family that she has is a character, which they kind of revealed very early on what this character is.
I wouldn't say it's a spoiler. Yeah. She's very sad. Yeah, like you say, her only family, her sort of adopted brother.
Yeah, is a robot.
He's a robot. A robot called Andrew, Handy Andy, as they don't call him. He seems like a nice guy.
He was a very nice guy. At first, I thought he was just a little bit socially awkward. And then he started bleeding milk. And I was like, oh, okay.
That would make you socially awkward.
That would make you a little bit socially awkward, yeah. But yeah, he's a robot. Who else are there? There's the guy who... the tall British guy. And then the short British guy. There's something in the water! That guy.
both played by Dick Van Dyke. There's something in the water there,
There's something in the water. I don't know. There's something in the... Yeah. So there's that. There's also Dora the Explorer. She's in there a little bit.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. B. Incidentally, I think she's a very good actress. I saw her in. Did you ever watch Sicario 2? This time,
No.
more Sicario.
Yeah, there are two of them.
Yeah,
So,
she was
spoiler alert,
surprising.
is a mirror.
Like she was, a lot younger at the time. She was playing like a
Who are we
high
talking
schooler.
about, by the way?
Isabella Merced. She's the one who, quite early on, is revealed that she's pregnant.
Oh,
you know her?
Yeah, because like you said,
Yeah.
some of them are sad, and some of them are
Mhm.
glad. Some of them are
are
real
pregnant.
mad.
And some of them are 0110
Yeah.
or 01.
But it's about this bunch of people. They're stuck on a planet, aren't they? Essentially, not abandoned.
There's one more.
But
There's one more. There was the person with the shaved head, who's like was she the pilot? I think she was the pilot.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think she might have relations with the water guy. I think they were a couple or something like that.
The
Dick Van Dyke.
the cousin character, yeah, Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke -1. Yeah. So yeah, they're all going into space. They're all going into space and
trying to escape their horrible life working in
horrible lives in a mining planet.
Yeah.
That don't see any sun. Where's my son? They see the sun at some point. Yeah, very, very briefly. But yeah, essentially, it's a heist movie gone wrong.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah, because they're trying to get some fuel for some.
They're trying to get that unobtainium
cryopods, aren't they?
It's so unobtainable. But
what should we call it?
Should
we call it a handful of can't get 'ems?
Can't get them.
No, we'll call them unobtainium.
Oh, James Cameron. So yeah, the group get into trouble. There are aliens, and the rest is history. Now, that's as much as you can really say without spoiling it.
Yeah.
So I am just gonna go ahead and say that I think about 2/3 of the movie, maybe a little bit more, I was absolutely loving it. I thought this is really good. I mean, there were a few moments that kind of it took me out of it. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I was like, this is cracking. Even up to the what I thought was the final act.
Okay.
I thought like this is I thought this is a very solid movie. Performances were good, action was good. I somehow kind of cared for some of the characters, But unfortunately, I felt quite let down by the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought the movie
Should we go into spoilers a bit later?
A little bit later, yeah. I'm not gonna go into it just yet, but like I just thought the last 20 minutes was weird.
Okay.
I felt like it was just it wasn't a different movie, but it just kind of felt strange, and I didn't enjoy it as much as the rest of the movie. That's my honest opinion. But I would say, much like how you say some movies, like for the first hour is great. You really like the first hour of. You said something recently. I can't remember what it was.
The one that I think is the prime example of this is probably I Am Legend with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh no, that's it. You said Gone Girl. Your favorite David Fincher movie is the first hour of Gone Girl.
Yeah. Well, I liked not knowing who was telling the truth at all.
Mm.
And when it became about...
It was a real like Rashomon effect type thing, right?
Yeah, when it became about, oh, here is the truth, and now things are just going to play out. It was still good, because it's David Fincher, so it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed not being in the know.
What was the moment that jumped the shark for you was when they were advertising a Sony Bravia television along with like drones and...
Yeah. With perfect lighting.
KFC,
yeah,
Budweiser. I remember.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that when the doors of the shed open and it's a Sony Bravia and there's just a bucket of chicken balancing on top of it and steam still coming off it. A Big Mac.
Absolutely shameless. Going back to Aliens. Why don't we just go through like what I liked about it, because I genuinely really liked some of the interesting tension building. The action scenes I thought were quite good. I I thought some of the interaction between the main two characters, the
Okay.
I think her name was Rain, played by Kaylee Spenny, and then Andy, who was played by, I want to say David Johnson, but I don't remember his name. Was it David Johnson?
I've got his name here. Yes.
Alien Romulus, and his name is
David Johnson.
Yeah, I thought they were great. I think I like the dynamic of them too.
I particularly liked when, I don't want to spoil it, but when
why don't we wait for the spoilers for that?
Okay,
what did you think? Let's see what you think. Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I'll give you my rating. I'll give you my rating.
Okay, go on.
So out of chatting pitch, I would say, you know what? Up until that point that I said, I think that was a solid chatting pitker for me.
Okay.
I thought like that.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. Like even a lot of people said, because I read some reviews that was like they said the first hour was incredibly boring, but I didn't find that. I was actually invested in what they were saying. Everything was fine. I liked the story building. I liked the slow burn, but unfortunately, the last 20 minutes brings it all the way down to like a chatting pie, maybe for me.
Okay.
Because it's
not affected too badly then.
It's not affected too bad. Like I don't want the last 20 minutes to affect how much I enjoyed the first part, because I really did enjoy it. Because I also watched it in IMAX, so I had the incredible like vistas and set design, everything, sound as well. Sound design was great. I quite liked the sound design.
I
thought it was really good. But yeah, unfortunately, I think the last act was just, it fell flat for me.
Okay.
Quite disappointed.
That little extra bit that they.
That little extra bit that they did. Yeah. What about you?
Probably similar to yours. I think it was one of those films that what it did well, I really, really enjoyed.
There was a moment halfway through the movie that really also I didn't like, but I'll get into spoiler.
Let's see if we're thinking of the same thing.
I think we're thinking of the same thing.
Yeah, the bits that I didn't like, I really didn't like, but the bits I did like, I thoroughly enjoyed. I think it definitely it borrows a lot from previous Alien films. Almost
all Alien movies,
almost to the point,
and even video game. Yeah,
I think you can almost talk about it in terms of that, just comparing.
It's references
because it takes
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I mean the first half hour is very similar in sort of tone and pacing to the first Alien. Yeah, where it's just let's just show these characters living with not much in terms of moving the plot forward. It does move a bit quicker than Alien. I don't know if that's a modern sensibility thing.
Probably pacing wise.
A lot of the whenever characters use tools or everything's very tactile, which I quite enjoyed.
They consciously tried to make it look a bit more run down and more in the same kind of vein as the technology from Alien 1, as opposed to Prometheus, where everything looked like way too advanced and clean and sleek. Like this one's a bit more grungier, and I quite liked that. Yeah. Sorry,
this is like an Apple computer from the 80s.
Yes.
And Prometheus is like a sleek MacBook Pro.
That's it.
The bits that it borrowed from Aliens, perhaps not so sharp. I don't think the action elements get anywhere near the James Cameron version. I liked the last 20 minutes.
You actually liked the last 20 minutes, okay?
Yeah, and in terms of like what I particularly like about the Alien series is that it usually comes with a lot of imagery that sticks with me.
Okay, and that stuck with you.
Well, like we talked about the alien in the shaft in Ridley Scott's first one, who does the reaching out for a cuddle.
Yeah. That sticks with you.
Even though when you break it down, that's like what is on screen is ridiculous. The way that it's edited and however all the tools are used to put it together is quite an arresting image for me. Yeah, I didn't really get that with this as much until maybe the last 20 minutes.
Really? That's interesting that we have a completely opposite reaction to the last 20 minutes, because it has been quite divided, especially on the discourse online. A lot of people either love it or they hate it. Don't think there's anyone who's thought it was okay.
Well, I might be the first one then, because I think I'm very much in the middle. I by no means do I hate it, but I don't think it's.
I'd love to hear
it's up there with the top ones.
In the spoiler section, I'd love to hear why you liked the last 20 minutes. But in terms of rating, what would you give it?
Probably a chatting.
Chatting, okay.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Nothing's going to. None of the other films in the series so far, for me, have got anywhere near Alien or Aliens.
Okay.
I think that's.
Do you prefer Alien over Aliens?
I think they're different enough that I can't really choose.
Yeah,
but I think for me, I enjoyed Prometheus and Covenant more because it had that new through line that Ridley Scott was trying to do, where it was about those characters trying to find. It sounds a bit hokey when you just say it, but they were trying to find their creator, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people disagreed, and a lot of people say that they like the first Alien film. Are you
talking about the franchise itself, or are you talking about the characters in?
The characters in, they're trying to find the engineers and all that jazz.
I thought you were talking about the franchise, like as in like 20th Century Fox were trying to find their creators.
Who made this? Where's Ridley?
No, yeah, go ahead.
And I know a lot of people disagree, and they say they like the appearance of the space jockey in the first Alien, and they like the fact that that's not explained. I did enjoy that as well, because it implied that there was this wider world of the story that we didn't necessarily have to know about. But at the same time, I like the fact that Ridley Scott was jumping into it and we were getting more from it. I think it is a bit of a shame that through line seems to have been abandoned somewhat.
There wasn't really a resolution or a closure to that. It kind of like, it was a big old mystery box that was opened, explained to a certain point, and then dropped off the face of the earth. Because
I mean, I suppose you can fill in the gaps from what you get at the end of Covenant, which I said a couple of episodes ago I didn't enjoy, but I've literally just finished rewatching it about 45 minutes ago, and I enjoyed it more watching it.
Okay, maybe this is a spoiler alert, but yeah. Anyway, I guess we could just get into spoilers now, because you've said your rating. I've said my rating. My rating is slightly higher than yours, because I really did enjoy the first two acts. But yeah. Anyway, spoiler alert. Here we go. All the gloves are coming off, baby. The last 20 minutes for me just felt very tacked on for the sake of trying to please the fans of Prometheus, to me.
Okay.
And I guess maybe I was sold on the fact that this was supposed to be between Alien and Aliens, and there was no mention of any of that kind of stuff.
Okay. So when you say that stuff, do you mean the
Prometheus
weird
engineer man? Yeah. So there was, I knew that something was going to happen to the character who was pregnant, because why mention that? You know?
Yeah. And also then, it's the Alien universe where we're not I'm not going to swear again and give you more work, but stuff happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Life cycles.
Why does stuff happen? Because the universe sucks. That seems to be the general message of the Alien franchise most of the time. Why did that character die? Was it because they were stupid? No, they were just unlucky. Just happened.
Well, there weren't really any. I'd give the movie props though. There weren't any, because I think Prometheus and Alien Covenant both had characters that made very silly choices, in my opinion. And this particular movie, Alien Romulus, didn't feel like there were many people who did that, like making bad decisions. I think maybe the worst decision that somebody did was the something in the water guy stuck a giant, cocoon of what we were assumed at the time a xenomorph was about to be birthed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he just put a big electric stick in there. I was like, okay, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have done that.
Well, I did sit there thinking, like,
I probably would have done it.
I'd have done the same thing.
But we've got the benefit of hindsight. We didn't know that he was going to.
I also, you have to acknowledge the fact that these are not, and it's also you rarely get this in the Alien films where you get people who are trained for this specific thing. I guess you get it in Aliens, where you get the Marines heading in.
Yeah,
but I mean, even the first. Even the best
of the best.
And the best of the best of the breast. I mean the best. Get out, you're fired. But apart from that, I mean, all the other Alien films feature characters who are they're just trying to get by. Like even the first Alien film, they are not explorers.
Yeah.
The reason why they go down to that planet is company policy.
Yeah.
It's not they're not eager to explore it. They're not searching for brave new worlds. It's just we have to, or they might dock our pay.
Tell me why you liked the last 20 minutes. I've expressed why I didn't like it, just because I felt it was very tacked on, and it was like explaining lore that wasn't present between Alien 1 and 2, and I felt like it was a very studio kind of thing where they thought, or maybe because Ridley Scott produced it, he was like, I didn't get to make a third Prometheus, so
sure.
Here's my idea, and you do it, otherwise you're fired.
Well,
Alvarez.
Maybe it's because I was a bigger fan of Covenant and Prometheus, because you're a bit sort
of... I liked Prometheus. Don't get me wrong, I liked Prometheus. But like, I was sold on the fact that there wasn't an Alien prequel.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it was like, xenomorphs. It was like, okay, cool.
It was sold as a bit of back to basics, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then Alien Covenant was like, oh, let's do a sequel to Prometheus. But then let's just like completely like throw the previous protagonist under the bus. Like everything that she had worked up towards, like as in Elizabeth Shaw.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter anymore. David just dissected her,
Okay.
like that just happened off screen. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then there's there's this big gap, right? And then
well, I think it had the issue that I think Prometheus had, where both films feel like, to me, there was some deleted scenes that I might have actually enjoyed.
Yeah, there definitely was a deleted scene in Alien Covenant that would have explained more of that, at least like a prologue or something. Right. But the fact that it just happened off screen, and then it was just like, oh, okay, these characters that you cared about in the first movie, it's just a throwaway now. And I don't know, it just felt weird. And then going back to Romulus, it just felt like, I don't know, Ridley Scott maybe just thought, I need to put my stamp on this somehow.
Sure.
Hey, let's make one of them give birth to a big, thin man / alien. And he looks a bit like Marilyn Manson.
I mean, I thought that creature looked quite...
The beautiful people. Do you remember it? Sorry. I
also remember his acoustic set.
Yeah. No, go for it. What do you like about the ending?
Well, I thought that creature was definitely very creepy. And I like when it had that moment of returning to the character that had given birth to it.
Yeah.
And for me anyway, I was just on tenterhooks, like, what is this thing gonna do? Like, is it gonna cradle her in its arms, or is it gonna tear her head off? I mean, it could go either way. And then okay, it's eating her. But I like that it was almost implied that there were sort of undertones of this was how this hybrid feeds from its mum.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like that was the horrific version of, like swaddle a baby, let it have some milk.
Yeah.
And instead of breastfeeding, it was, I'm back, mum, and I'm gonna tear you to pieces. Which I thought was an interesting way to go. To me, I wouldn't use the phrase tacked on. I think it follows a tradition in Alien films that there's almost an extra 15 minutes at the end where,
Fake out.
we could have ended it. We could have ended it 15, 20 minutes ago, but we're going to do a little bit extra. Whether you enjoy that or not, I think is down to personal opinion.
I genuinely thought, right, that what was going to happen was that bit with the elevator and the zero gravity with all the aliens, which I loved. I thought it was that whole section was really fun. And then like we get back to the ship, everyone's, in their pajamas walking around. And then I thought maybe
got the teddies.
I thought the pregnant lady was gonna turn into an alien or something. Because earlier on it was foreshadowed that a rat had the stuff injected, and then it may have turned into an alien, or maybe something came out of the rat. Who knows? So I thought maybe she was at least gonna like turn into something, but I didn't realize she was gonna give birth to.
I think because she was pregnant. I think because she was pregnant the whole time, I was like, okay, when's baby gonna come?
When is the baby due? Yeah,
because it ain't gonna be 9 months.
So yeah, I just had issues with that bit. The other issue that I had, and I don't know if you have. I think we may have touched upon it earlier when we were talking about it non-spoiler section, but I don't think I liked Ian Holmes being resurrected in this movie.
Absolutely not.
Especially the way they did it. I think when it worked, it was Ian Holmes' character. I guess it's not Ash either. It's Rook, which is like a different version of it. So it's not even the same one.
But I think
why
the impression
even bring him back?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's almost. I don't know if it was almost an idea that they thought was too good to drop. The fact that okay, it's Ian Holm, and even though it's not the same android, we probably can't trust him. But of course, none of these characters know that. So there is a bit of a nice dramatic irony there. But I think the trade-off for that, I don't think the visuals hold up at all.
No. I think if there was anything that they could have done better was either get a different actor for the android or bring back David, He's still alive at least, as in Michael Fassbender.
Okay. Yeah.
Because these models, right, they are all... they're all different, You've got Andy, who's a completely different android. He looks different. You've got David, who looks different. You've got Ian Holmes, who looks different. Bishop looks different. All these androids look different, and they have different purposes. Why did we have to have another one that looked like Ian Holmes? It didn't really matter who it was, other than the fact of member berries,
Yeah. I think the other issue with bringing Ian Holm back, so a lot of people have pointed out that it's an android character. You could have just built an animatronic, and you could have, because he is messed up as well. His character is messed up when you first see him. He's been torn to shreds. So you could have just had his head a bit messed up as well, and they could have built an Ian Holm animatronic. Do you know what I think the guy who does the voice does a really, really great job.
Okay, so I actually did a bit of a deep dive on the behind the scenes of animatronic, like CGI Ian Holmes. So it's actually a mixture of both. So I don't know if you're going to watch it again at any point, but clearly the limbs and the head movements and everything, they're all animatronic, right? But the face was CGI'd.
Right.
And that's why it looked so odd, because his mouth was moving like a robot, but his face and his features were uncannily like Ian Holmes.
And
but
it looked like Ian Holm was melting at times as well.
Yeah.
Which didn't help.
Well, which I guess would make sense as an android.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're going to say, like, if an android needs to look a bit more battered, but like they could have done it where like half his face was missing or something like that,
like Terminator. Ooh.
Yeah, but no, they have.
But I also thought, those sort of, sometimes films can get away with
the uncanny valley,
not having as much money, and their visual effects are in the dark, or you see them on a CCTV screen, so they don't have to be.
See, it worked great when it was on a CCTV screen.
Oh, see, I thought the complete
Don't you
opposite.
think?
I was still really distracted by it. And I thought,
Do you
if it
think you
still
would have
doesn't
been
hold up,
distracted? Do you think you would have been distracted if they hadn't revealed the abomination of resurrected Ian Holmes?
I
Like,
think
if you had just seen that, really? Okay, because I thought the CCTV stuff worked because it was less distracting. They had a filter over it, and it wasn't like
Yeah, I mean, it was less so, but I was still like, why is he melting? Why is he melting but not melting?
Yeah, I personally thought the movie would have been better if they just had a different robot.
Yes,
because we still would have got the same story through. Like,
yeah,
you know, he could have been explaining.
It would have made sense.
It would have made sense. You know, he would have looked different, and it wouldn't have been the poor visual effects artists who had to do that. You know, it just seemed a little bit. I think I could tell that they really tried to make it work.
Yeah,
but it kind of was very distracting for me. So those are the only two things that I didn't really like about the movie. The rest of it, I thought was great.
I mean, I don't think I enjoyed the callback to Aliens.
That's another thing I didn't like. I think it would have been better. So, if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, like if you've watched the movie, you're probably listen to our review spoiler section. But there's a moment where the android, Andy, he says, "Get away from her," and then takes a moment, and then quite hesitantly, goes, "You," and I chuckled in the cinema. I chuckled in the cinema, but only because I was like, they're doing this, are they?
Okay. Remember that?
Yeah. I just thought it was it almost felt like it was an outtake and they left it in the movie. You know? And I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure that was planned, but it just did not. Yeah, it was too. The fact that it's said in Aliens as well. So does this mean that that's because this is supposed to be a prequel, right?
Yeah.
So why did
is Ripley watching like videotapes?
Why did Alien Ridley say, "Get away from her, you," right? And then what prompted Andy to say that?
Because it's also completely out of character for him, isn't it?
Maybe earlier on the guy called him a or something, and then that's what he took from that,
I guess.
But then that's a stretch.
But to me, it was less. There's like a scale, isn't there? There's Hasta la Vista, baby, which is at the top, and at the bottom there's Talk to the Hand, and it was very much Talk to the Hand.
What would you have preferred? He said
anything else.
Get away from her.
Anything else.
You alien
xenomorph.
I think it would have been funnier if he had said something completely different. Like he just went straight in there and just went like, "Get away from her, you." And like I think,
oh wow, I've had an upgrade.
I've had an upgrade. I also didn't like that. I thought it was really stupid and dumb.
And the shit.
Was there anything else you didn't like?
Well, there was one bit that led into another bit that I loved.
Okay.
Which was the sequence where, as we mentioned, there's a lot of zero gravity gets used a lot as a sort of a plot device in this film. And there's a section towards the end where Rain shoots a bunch of xenomorphs.
And then incidentally,
the zero gravity makes the acid float
incidentally,
up in the
it accidentally created alien acid house.
Yeah. Like we predicted. Oh, we're geniuses.
Yeah.
I thought
that sequence was great. I really loved that sequence.
I thought her floating through and trying to dodge the acid. I thought that was a great sequence.
But what didn't you like that was led up to it?
I didn't like it felt like 5 minutes that she was firing that gun. And I just thought there are no thrills here. This is an action scene where it's just one character is just firing their gun.
Did you watch it on a regular screen?
Yes.
Because I thought that was great in IMAX.
Okay.
That whole sequence was like, even the shooting bit, it didn't feel like 5 minutes to me. It's because there was just so much to look at. Like the screen was huge. And I maybe it's different on a smaller screen.
Maybe.
But for me, it was quite entertaining.
I don't know if I was spoiled, because the pacing of the film for me worked fantastically, except for that really small segment. And that was the only point where I thought, I'm feeling bored. But then it followed it up with that great sequence where she has to, because I do like the fact that every Alien film tries to come up with something new. Yeah. Yes, it's an Alien film, and yes, we're going to have callbacks and similarities, but each film has got a sequence where you go, oh yeah, that was from that one movie.
Do you think the director watched Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones? It's like, that in space, but replace the lasers with acid.
Replace the lasers with acid and replace Catherine Zeta-Jones with a stuttering android.
Yeah. Replace who was the other actor who was in it? Sean Connery, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, let's replace Sean Connery with Ian Holmes.
Has anyone ever intercut like the shots of Catherine Zeta-Jones going through the lasers and then making it look like it's Sean Connery doing it?
No.
Look at my ash.
Sidetracked me completely there. What were we talking about? Just thinking about Sean Connery's ass now.
Yeah, Sean Connery and not Ian Holm.
What else did you like about the movie? We've talked about the negatives. Or was that pretty much it?
I enjoyed the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry.
I hated the atmosphere.
I hated the atmosphere. No, it was sort of in the middle for me. I think it's definitely near the top of the pile of the middle Alien films.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just having a little look at my review. Like the first Alien film, there were sort of jump scares and there were horror elements that I quite enjoyed. You can tell that this director made, I think it was called Don't Breathe. Did you ever see Don't Breathe?
Yeah. People are saying it's Don't Breathe in space.
I think that's a bit derivative, but there are bits where it's like, okay, he's doing this again.
Yeah. Is it a bit where they're like walking through the face huggers and trying not to make them move and all that? That was very Don't Breathe. I don't know. Have you seen Don't Breathe?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I thought that sequence was a great idea on paper, but then it cut away to someone else, and I thought, I want to stay with those three characters through this whole sequence, because cutting away completely evaporated the tension.
Flow.
It evaporated the tension for me.
Yeah.
Just as they were getting involved, and just as I was sort of feeling that tension, oh no, we're back here now. We're cross-cutting to someone else.
Yeah.
And I guess I can see why they had to do it for story, but it's a shame. But yeah, like I said, what it did really well, I really, really enjoyed. It's just that there were elements where I thought too many plot inconsistencies. At one point, the alien is the fastest thing in the universe, and then 20 minutes later, it's like the aliens have covered their eyes and gone, I'll count to 20 and you run away. Because there's a bit where the alien is within touching distance, I'm sure of it, and then there's a weird jump cut, and it's the main characters have run away and they're running down a corridor, and the aliens are nowhere to be seen. So what? Hey, look over there. I mean, what did they do to escape? They didn't.
I didn't think I noticed that.
And there's a bit where a character gets impaled by the xenomorph's tail.
Yeah. Are you talking about the pregnant lady?
About 40 minutes later.
Yeah.
Rain is falling down a lift shaft, and the alien catches her gently with its tail, because she has to live, because she's the main character.
I did look this up, actually, and I guess it kind of makes sense.
That was the nice alien.
I guess it kind of makes sense if you think about it, but only if you are thinking about it. If you're like, I think to the general audience, people are going to be like, why did that alien save her? Like, she was essentially falling to her death, and the alien saved her and broke her fall, right?
Yeah,
but then
caught her and then sort of growled and hissed a bit, and then got hit by a lift.
But very, very shortly, to the movie's defense, right? And it makes sense, because I actually had to look this up. But throughout the movie, there are people who get killed, and there are people who are brought to the hive. and the lady that got stabbed and then was found in the hive, which is also referenced in the first Alien. I forget the character's name, the guy who looks a bit like Carl Urban, the main character.
Okay, yeah.
He is like, what's the thing called? Like the ectoplasm or whatever. Like he's
gooed.
He's gooed up to the wall, right? And she's essentially had the same thing happen to her. And this also happens in Alien.
Plastering. There's one xenomorph who's he's really good at plastering. Yeah, I'll do you another
renovating my new home. Do you like what I've done with the place?
I know it's quite dark at the moment, but we're going to do it all in cream. We're going to do it all in cream. The plaster has to dry.
Yeah.
You got to wait 10 to 12 hours.
The beige undertones.
Those we're going to do a feature wall where all these people, where all these humans are gooed up to the wall. That's a feature wall. We're not going to have that everywhere.
You see an alien like just walking back in and bringing his other alien friends and just pointing at the walls. Just...
We're going to do chains in that corner with water dripping. We like that, don't we?
This one. This one's good. No, and back to the explanation. From what I understand, is like there are two different ways that the alien treats their prey, and one would be to save them.
Okay.
Have the face huggers go and impregnate them to repopulate.
Do their stuff.
Shortly after the bit where she's grabbed, there is a face hugger just around the corner, and she's like trapped between a face hugger and the xenomorph. So I think the reason why it saved her was to impregnate the lady with the face hugger, so they can repopulate.
Sure.
But then the shaft comes and like knocks them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll take that back then.
One thing that I'm not sure about, right? You know how earlier on they said you can't shoot in here because zero gravity and the acid will burn through. But then there is the scene that with all the anti-gravity and the acid thing, when the gravity goes back on, the acid falls down.
Mm-hmm.
Would that not essentially do the same thing with creating a hole and a vacuum into space?
I think it does, but then by the time that happens, they've left, haven't they?
Okay.
That's also a bit where I mentioned this, I think, online on my Twitter account, and I said there was a bit where like there's a run-in thing where Andy the android is telling dad jokes.
Yeah.
And they're purposefully bad jokes, and it's it's funny because they're so bad. And there's a bit where he, I think Rain asks him to tell a dad joke, like the xenomorphs are bearing down on them, and they're about to die. So I guess she just wants a bit of that joyful familiarity from him one last time. And he says a joke about like why don't monsters eat clowns? Because they taste funny. And I was waiting for her to be like, of course, clown makeup. The red nose and the pale skin will throw off how the xenomorphs see us.
I know, we all get into a clown car and drive off into
We drive into space. But then he told a second joke, and that led to the anti-gravity thing.
What was the second joke?
The second joke was... I can't remember what it was, but it was that.
How do you kill aliens with anti-gravity? Hang on a second,
I
Andy.
knew it. Your joke has made me think of an idea.
You know what? Right? You know the line that we so hate very much towards the end, where he does the one-liner and there's the callback to the aliens.
See, imagine that, but in clown makeup.
Well, yeah, but like,
and they're walking down. They're trying to hide down the corridor. From the squeaky
Instead
shoes.
of the line that he said, he should have said something like,
"Stop clowning around."
Yeah, you clown. That would have been the perfect time to make another dad joke, right? But they didn't.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do that? Maybe I have a feeling maybe they did, and then 20th Century Fox was like, "Nah, man, you gotta do the
thing that people will go. I remember that."
It's like, may the force be with you. You
Come with me if you want to die.
You clown.
You clown. Why don't monsters eat androids? Because
of clowns.
Are made of metal. That gives me an idea. We'll drop an anvil on their heads.
Good thinking, Andy.
The That's Andy.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the movie was.
Tell me
good.
that you wouldn't have enjoyed the last 20 minutes if she was in a clown outfit the whole time, and the asteroid, the spacesuit that she wears is also clown themed.
Yeah,
it's like Mr. Tumble. He's just covered in colourful dots.
Yeah, or Mr. Bobby.
There's a red nose on the outside of the helmet.
That's what the last person should have been.
And then go on.
The Prometheus engineer guy, that should have been a clown.
Well, they've got quite pale faces already, haven't they?
Like it comes, she gives birth to him, and you just hear, and then it just keeps going. It's like he's medical cord are flowers, and, and it just won't stop.
And he's not actually trying to kill the characters, but they're just terrified that he's going to do a bit.
Yeah.
Like when he's headbutting the spacesuit's helmet, instead of trying to crack it open, he's just trying to make like the red nose against it each time, or he gets like a comedy hammer.
And then at the end, it gets into a cannon and just shoots off. The end.
The end.
Anyway, that's it. We've done the episode.
We digitally intercut Clown Alien into Aliens and Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good. Very nice. Cool. That's it. We did it.
Yeah.
We watched Alien. And next week, hopefully, we'll talk about something else.
And did you notice, Leslie, that maybe you didn't enjoy the last alien that showed up, the hybrid, because he had very long legs? Did you see the long legs, Leslie? Have you seen it yet, Leslie?
Chatting Pitch has been brought to you by Leslie Way and Matthew D. Smith. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to listen to others and maybe even subscribe. You can follow us on the website, formerly known as Twitter.
Listen to us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Leslie and Matthew have their own side hustles as well. Feel free to check out Leslie's YouTube channel or Matthew's Medium blog. Links in the description. If you want anything else, we might have other links in the description if we think of anything interesting to add. Thank you for listening. I love you.